draft isn't bad. I mean, they get the haze at the very end, and if they can make it work like VP, all the power to them. But this is Abraham's in their zone when I look at this.
I mean, as far as real like explosive important play, I mean, Bebop's knocking these characters out of maybe Vindicta, but like not so high point a priority, obviously. So yeah, I guess, you said it wasn't too bad for Lotus, but I mean, it starts with a Calico, but honestly kind of ends with the Infernus, where I'm just like, no, I like that one better. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
I think for me, it's like, I think Abraham's got like the bright, sometimes it goes like, do you draft for the players or do you draft for the overall meta power? Abraham's kind of got both here, where Hoot is super comfortable on Calico super meta. Together on Shiv, is Shiv worth second pick? That part is debatable, but for together, the answer is probably yes. Saf has been remarkably reliable on the Mirage. Saint, very, very versatile on the Sinclair. And then Tass, I mean, long history of playmakers. At one point, arguably the best Paradox in the game. Easily able to go over the Holiday or Bebop when necessary. And, Jamside, honestly, has looked better on Wraith, but, has been solid on the Infernus for Abraham. So, yeah, I mean, the roster is about as set gets.
Yeah, the meta and just being comfortable in those characters. They got both. Not as familiar with Lotus, so we can't really say like what their comfort picks are, but is anything so comfortable that you take on Abraham's here? I'm not so sure. I'd love to see some really great plays coming out from Lotus. They even kind of adapted further in their second game of the last series, and it was great to see that. But it feels like they're starting off on a worse foot than they did versus Virtus Pro, and to improve from here might be a guarantee in like half glass full sense, and then half glass empty is just like because this feels like a bad start. Right. So I don't know.
I mean, for Lotus, I think they're really, you need the pocket play to be out of this world in some of the early team fights. I mean, ideally, you need the Warden to not only have a good early lane, but get earlier outsized output from your last stand. You need the Vindicta to like really disproportionately output here. Because on the same note for Abraham's, I mean, the lanes are actually ridiculous. You can run Mirage Holiday in middle, which they often do, which is very, very strong. You can run Sinclair to back up either the Calico, the Infernus, or the Shiv to like very, very good results. And then, the two that remain, you can still put together a decent lane. So like Abraham's entire curve here, not only do they have a great late game setup, but their early to mid game with this, especially with their expertise on these heroes, it's really, really good. I mean, so even though I don't look at the lowest draft and I don't hate it, when you look at what they've given up to Abraham's and what it means to Abraham's, to me, I look at this as like, oh boy, I feel like I know the movie we're about to see.
Yeah, right. This is the Mummy 5 or something. And you're like, well, they're just creatively bankrupt, and it's going to be the same thing. They got all the same actors too somehow. This is. I really want to believe in Lotus. I feel like I'm kind of coming off of a high of not their win, but just how well they were able to bring it to a very top tier team. And now I'm like, oh no, guys. Oh geez. Oh well. I mean, good luck. Which. They're not the favorite coming in anyway, but what can they do? I mean, they have, well, I was going to say global presence, but then Mirage is available too. So never mind. I was trying to look for some like positive that they had that the other team didn't.
Yeah. I mean, you get a little bit with Ivy, but we'll see. I mean, there are a few scenarios where you can play here in lane, but for me, maybe typing up, maybe it's a lot of faith in Abraham's for their recent performances, but it feels like Abraham's just got about everything they wanted here, and barring a tremendous flub in the early game, Lotus is going to be swimming upstream.
Well, be surprisingly aggressive. Be the mouse that attacks the cat. Then suddenly the cat's just like, what the heck? And maybe it'd go.
I think the technical term that is Jerry. You got to be Jerry at that point.
Of course, if it happens in real life, guys, because the mouse actually has some like debilitating disease. Anyway. We do have the pressure already being applied, but it is not, unfortunately, Lotus to Abraham's. Abraham's already pushing the lanes. Obviously, very, very early on, kind of getting the taste before the minions become a bit more of that focus. But, I am so scared about this Calico from right now, actually, but particularly when she starts getting those box runs and just runs out of control. They said if there's a team that's kind of willing to set her up for success, and I think Abraham's absolutely is, she is the most best perfect thing that you can have in Deadlock.
Speak and ye shall receive. Okay, who ends up trading out for it? But Point still stands. Also, mid lane is going to be so perilous for Lotus here because it is going to be Holiday Mirage's lane. And I mean, Hayes Pocket, generally speaking, is going to be on the defensive here. And I mean, this is a lane that Abraham's has run a lot, and they're not the only ones. Is that when you put Mirage and Holiday together in a lane, it is probably the biggest long-range poke just threat you could ever put together in a lane right now. And you have to play so perfectly just not to lose ungodly amounts of health.
Yeah. Well, at least there was that trade on Hoot to give you a little bit of confidence. And what about the right lane? The left lane's, already had a duel. Mid lane is gonna be so oppressive. And the right side, what are you thinking that's gonna happen with that?
Well, right-hand side, we're looking here. I mean, Shiv's getting backed up by the Sinclair. Warden Vindicta has turned out to be a powerful lane, so I actually would be surprised if they're able to win here. And oh my goodness, the barrel and mid lane. I mean, again, it's like in another game that you got put into the gulag. And you just see at the top of your screen, objective survive is how I feel like Hayes and Pocket are feeling at the moment.
Jam side going for, I guess, just box runs. Very deep box runs, actually. So, confident leading Calico on her own is fair enough.
And it kind of makes sense. I mean, early on, until you get Ava a little bit higher level and, you get a little bit more clearance in the lane. Like, it doesn't have to instantly be the Calico, 3 minutes in the lane.
I'm even hoping they got a little too aggressive, seeing that it was only one person available. Not the case that Lotus loses anyone for being aggressive. They are able to successfully draw back. But on the right side, you were saying that you wouldn't be surprised if Abraham's actually ended up losing that lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Right now, it's not looking like it, but we've seen Warden Vindicta lanes outperform.
Sure.
It's a lane that is shocking. But when the Vindicta just dives to the Shiv that's up on your ceiling, that's looking a little bit less likely. And oh god, this Warden, you may be able to barrier, but it is over. So that lane goes very against. And I mean, again, on paper, that's a lane that's been able to be effective. Meanwhile, going to punish Yamato in turn. And again, you think about how the late game is going to go here. I don't think it gets any better for Lotus if they're not able to pull out what appears to be a mid lane or early game tailspin.
Yes, tailspin. He tried to attack the cat. The cat just wouldn't have anything of it. He attacked the line instead. I really did not care. Guardian might be going down here. It's a little low in the Mirage, so I don't want to force the issue. But the Holiday is also picking away at it. Another minion wave, and they might just have it done. Little trade happening on the left side. Is the Calico going to win that fight?
Yeah, she's good. Look at the HP. Well, maybe not so good as to, like, take the tower
yes.
outright. Like, there's a limit to your godhood here. But, okay, by the way, things just got real. Guardian is down, and Tass is one of the most aggro roamers in the entire game. So what's worse than a Calico that's doing well in your lane? A Calico that has a Holiday that's potentially about to rotate on over.
Yes. The opportunity is there, but it seems like they've caught their sights on a potential pick. So mid is just continuing to be aggressive. Warden and Hayes are on the run.
That's pretty deep.
Yes, it is very deep. Who did go down? Rayosh follows suit. Hey, that was awfully aggressive. But yeah. Oh, one Guardian down. Second to fall. I feel like it was pretty soon. Maybe not quite going for it yet on that right side, having been pushed back. Now the left side, we got a lot of Abraham members over there. Gonna be able to grab the gun buff on Holiday too, and then get back into the fray.
Shout transformation is just like, please don't, but also
that was nice.
The fall through is there, so yeah, I mean, works on out. Rotation in, Tass feeling perhaps a little bit too empowered is like, I got the gun buff. It's like, well, it's not gonna help you in only two situation. Meanwhile, Warden, Force coming out here with the last stand, enough to take down Saints, but not enough to live and make it more than a trade. A little bit of signs of life here from Lotus, but Abraham's still working at an advantage.
5K has been pretty consistent as far as their soul lead, by the way, which I think is just going to continue rising. Still not able to quite take that Guardian on the left side, but active nonetheless. So, actually, Holiday has not been able to run around too much, digging deep. I wonder if we will see that potential rotation. As right side, we got a 3v3 brewing right now.
Yeah, you take a look at the right-hand side, and it's being allocated. Meanwhile, Tass is just stuck on babysitting middle duty. Although I say babysitting as if he's not just going completely in on the pocket, forcing the pocket out at the same time. But while this is going on, this is where Holiday may decide to rotate over. Left-hand side getting a little bit intense for Abrahams, where you see the pressure coming in on the Guardian, but for now, it's gonna be Holiday staying middle.
Some pinfalls. Not a great start for a Warden, by the way. Talking about that long-term vision, it's been cut short. So, I don't feel like I'll get to a point where he's really going to be the most intimidating player here. For Ivy, oh yeah, gets combustion. Sorry, gets stunned, goes down, and now the lane mate's also in some trouble. That was good. The ult's gonna have to be used to try and get out, at least temporarily. They might still try and continue to bring it, or maybe Hooch is gonna be chased down anyway. The Shadow Transformation trying to go ham. Hooch is trying to dodge away, parry, do whatever he possibly can to survive. Not gonna happen, does go down. Meanwhile, we also had Force Fall too. So, I mean, it's not just been entirely Abraham's favorite on that kill feed, but it has been favored to them, and they're ahead by 6K.
Also, rotation-wise, they've righted the lanes a little bit. You got Mirage back in the middle after he took a little bit of field trip off to the right, where they did get the second Guardian. So, I mean, it's still Abraham's up 2 Guardians. You've unleashed Taz here. Going over, lasso connects, long range, over, in, done.
Can't do much about that for Pyro, and fight will continue on the forefront. Now's opportune time for Calico to get some box running done too, and some farming as well. 4 members of Abraham's moving over to that left side. It feels like that Guardian's gonna go down soon, but actually a little bit of trouble on the right side. Binding Word, barely catches that Shiv. No follow-up available as he did suck himself into the corner, but last stand as well. Mirage trying to come over to help out at the last second with the Guardian still helping out. Maybe this will be enough. But last stand pretty darn powerful, not powerful enough. A Guardian helping out was just too much. And now with their turn here, they didn't get the Guardian. They lost a man. Now they're another. If they're not very careful, can Vindicta actually run away. That friendly Guardian on the left side finally went down too, by the way. So all Guardians fell for Lodos.
Also, we've hit the point in the game now. Now you have 3 Guardians down. This is where Hoot is really going to take space to start doing box runs in between a quick little drive-by on the haze. But if you look at the minimap, this is where you look at Hoot, and it's going to be, all right, time to go turn into a cat and pick up boxes. Leave the farm to the rest of the team. And that's where you can see Abraham getting even more clearance soul-wise to an extent here. So you look at who's getting the souls for Abraham's, and then you look at the allocation for Lodos. You know, you kind of mentioned it's absolutely true, is that First is not in a good spot for a Warden right now. Like, you want to farm souls in Warden. Warden has gotten, like, pummeled in the early game, and it's going to be a longer road back. And almost gets the stolen snipe.
Wasn't necessary. It's a trade out, 1 for 1 there. The contest around the right side Guardian still not going favorably enough for Lotus, so they really are applying the pressure. I think they will eventually fall. It did. There you have it, right? So they applied enough pressure, but they're still losing some men on the other side. Pirate was once again taken down to a well, but Lasso is just always going to be a fear as we get continued roaming and map pressure and map presence, and even the scouting is still happening, right? Because Calico exists. If she's not just box running as much as she possibly can. It's going to get worse and worse. Now a 13k soul difference, but I think it's going to get worse. Barely getting out and copying the last stands. Going to be able to go up against Vindicta, who might just be able to escape. I don't think there's anyone low enough for Assassinate to work out.
Meanwhile, together, finding Force. You got Yamato moving on in. Pyro, trying to make something happen. Able to go on over. Punish onto Jamside, who has named himself Violator in game. Jamside not one for actually naming himself his proper in-game name, like, ever. To an extent, a little bit of a production terrorist, where it's just like, oh, is Jamside done again? Oh yeah, Jamside's done it again. But hey, that's what happens when you spend a lot of time surrounded. But either way, who find the better of Yamato back here on the left side. And yeah, you kind of wonder here for Abraham is that for Lodos is that what turns this around at the moment, and they don't have a ton of options.
Let me think here. No, I actually can't think of anything. The pocket getting everyone low with the affliction into the Vindicta snipes, I mean, that would be brilliant, but it's just not seeming likely. I mean, there's really, I feel like not a lot of punish anyways for Abraham's being a little more disjointed. They can still react quite quickly with fast heroes, as well as the teleport in from Mirage. Traveler, that's what it's called. And so you're not going to find them like too grouped up and too susceptible of a situation for that. Meanwhile, they're taking good enough 1v1 fights. So your Mono here might be able to win out. Pyro on the hunt. Oh, no, okay. At least gets the kill, but will be killed in turn. Yeah, Infernus definitely going to grab that. And all the lanes actually push forward a little bit for Abraham's. Not as much as you might expect with some of the way we've been talking about this game. 16k difference. And then you have 3 down now for Lotus. So maybe I spoke too soon. They're going to push into it. They're going to push into the Walker.
Also, Hoot also got the urn turn in, like the bonus skills on top of that and the kills. Where you think about the Calco play we saw earlier today, where it's like, okay, Calco didn't get far ahead. Well, you know what? We're in the presence of a Calco that does know how to get far ahead, but both by properly utilizing the farm on the map, getting in on the right kills, and you have a Calco that is tied for most farm in the game at the moment, while still allowing the Infernus and Shiv on the team to, bask in the farm.
She's just, it's doing everything, right? It's not going to with the Ivy. But as far as doing everything, I mean, she's able to get that box run and then also come in and help assassinate some of these characters. And oof, Coffin probably didn't want in there. Got brutally murdered. Yeah, so the Calico's getting everything. As we said that she could, and she missed out the last time we were able to see her. The left side pressure, by the way, still going on. Lotus barely saving this Walker consistently, but there is a lasso, so I don't know how long that will stay. Pockets flying. Yeah, Cloak did not end up saving him. Killed before that could even come into effect. Now that Walker is wide open. Hayes might try and go for... She can't save it. Try and buy some time for it, perhaps. But you got 2 Walkers under a significant pressure, and they both could be going down. Abraham's getting a 2-for-1 deal, potentially.
Man, oh man, they just keep the pressure on. No-fly zone for Vindicta just a moment ago. Now looking at Together, starting to get into his zone. Another player that you don't want to get ahead of the game. Damn sad right now. On the left-hand side, and Lotus just turning into the stagger machine. And look at Saint, the high-value copy on the last stand. Gets him nice and low, gonna finish off the Warden. 300 HP, not a problem. Still looking for the Amato, takes it on down. The power of a copied last stand in for Saint as everything ends up the way of Abraham's.
But seriously, everything. I thought they were gonna get the 2 Walkers, then maybe he's getting all 3 within sub 2 minutes. There's too few men to defend. Certainly 2 locations. They don't even have enough really to defend the 1 to get nice up close and personal to the Walker to secure the kill. I'm surprised that mid Walker is still up, but that's why, because it was just about to go down. Lasso does miss, so there's not going to be more problems for Lotus, but I think they have enough. They have about 96 problems. And eventually get to 99.
Yeah, I mean, also you look at the game time here. It's 14 minutes in, and it feels like it has been significantly more in a sense with all the progress that has been made by Abrahams here in the moment. And again, you take a look at the farm really starting to get out of control. Like Pyro, you're reasonably farmed for your team at 13k, but most of Abraham's at 17k or more. Calco's at 18k. Like, what are you gonna kill as a Yamato with this level of soul gap? And the answer is, in reality, not much. Like, you've fallen so far behind, 110k to 75k on the aggregate. Abraham's was already winning the micro fights, and now things have just seemingly snowballed out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Bullet dance. Can't even get anything. That's feels bad. You can get really anyone particularly low before they were burned down. Force goes down again as well. A lot of picks individually happening currently, but I think we're going to get that group up very soon. The buffs have come up, so they're going to grab both buffs. Mid could be a point of contention. Everyone is rezzing back up again for Lotus. But the Ivy is yet again in trouble. Good thing they have a lot of escape. They're able to survive another fight potential. Could come back in, or they could run into Infernus on that left side. Meanwhile, Pyro catches the Calico, which we actually did not want to do, and the Calico was helped too, so that was not fair for Pyro. And as I said, that Ivy might be combating Infernus. Exactly what's happening. Little stun, try and hold on, try and escape. The Napalm gets thrown down too. And that's just too much. When you start to feel like no one is vulnerable in the opposing team, even your best player on your team can't kill anyone on their team, that's, I think, when you're just the most demoralized.
Yeah, I mean, you're really running out. Okay, going for the steal opportunity. Pocket over in, parries in, and no, not going to happen. But courageous attempt in from Kakarzo, just not quite going to happen there still. I got to respect the patience at Abraham's, where it's like, yeah, we're going to play this properly with parries. We are not letting a solo pocket come on in and steal our loot. But I mean, at this point, I feel like the only downside about this game for Abrahams is that if you're looking at game tape as a Virtus Pro or one-win team, you know what I think your lesson is here, ZG? You look at this and you go, don't let them get this draft. Like, whatever you do, like, you see this draft, don't do this. Like, this is not good.
No, it really is a bit baffling. You know, I assume that if you asked them, Lotus would have a reason for letting that Calico through. But the rest of the draft wasn't, you know, worse for Abrahams though. So it's Calico was the first surprising thing, and then everything else was just so comfortable for Abrahams. I don't think that's something that's Virtus Pro need to learn. They probably have already in mind. As we're watching further battles, not even grab anyone. Even when they think they found someone a little alone, okay, there is finally a trade that goes through. That still is never going to favor Lotus, who are down. How is that? 43k. That's a lot, and more people are going down. All the regions except for the Magician available. Violator does go down too. Sure, but
you know, it's a little bit harsh sometimes when you look at Soul Difference, where it's like, hey, we became casters because we wanted to do things with words. Why we suddenly got to do things with numbers here on the fly?
Well, I forgot the golden rule, which is not to try and do math on stream. So that's my bad.
Yeah, hey, see, you just say ignore. It's like, what's the difference? You know, you don't have to give the exact number. It's like a lot. You know, insurmountable would be a word that would actually be reasonably accurate at this point. That
would, but I would just love to start trolling chat and just throwing out like higher and higher numbers. I'm like, they're nearly 50k behind. They're nearly 70k behind, and they're like, you're not wrong. You're not right either.
Well, yeah, it's like, well, what's wrong with the math here? Like, what's going on here?
There's not much of this game left over, unfortunately. Are we just going to stay in base and go for the finale? I think it is absolutely possible. 4 people would redo for Abrahams, who is a little weak, but even though they're doing very, very well, they don't really need to be the person that you depend on. The Patron first stage is going to go down. It will give some time for the rest of Lotus to get back up and running. They have most of their ults except for the Ivy one, so maybe they can make a last stand, which will also be available. Or maybe they continue going in staggered and start losing everyone.
Or maybe you just feed together. How about that? What if together dines at the buffet, Violator and Zeph, or Jamside and Zeph? Jamside, fix your name.
Yeah, right?
Patron, though, gonna go down as Lodos, looking real tough against Abrahams, who, in my mind, got the perfect draft.
Yeah. You know, I'm using the phrase like from start to finish, and I've meant that for the laning phase to the mid and the late game, but I wasn't really considering the draft, so I don't know from pre-birth all the way to the end for this game. Abrahams, maybe they're even a little surprised, you know, we're not in their comms or anything, but to be so comfortable when you are at least the team that is more studied theoretically, I might have been a little shocked for them too. And I just really would like to know what was going through Lotus's mind and what their plan was. I mean, maybe they're just so excited about the idea of grabbing Warden.
I gotta call something out. You know, I just took a look here because he does this a lot. You know, Hoot is probably in chat and listening to the cast. So, you know, Hoot, real good job. You know, congratulations, great Calico, etc. I mean, technically, I do mean all these things, but the fact is, I just hear you're probably just like, praise me. Well, Hoot, as it turns out, it's a bad idea to let you get Calico. That's what we've learned here, Hoot. Yeah,
right.
We've already learned it, but you know, we've relearned it. It's been a long day.
It's a confirmation is what that was. You know, if you're like, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's not as bad as we remember. Oh my God, it is. Oh God. Yeah, it was a team effort, obviously, but the fact that Hoot was with that team effort, was able to do everything that they needed to do, and then was able to do also all the things as Calico, right? They were able to jump into the team fights and participate. They were able to turn 1v1s and 2v1s. They were able to find people in bad positions, and they were able to go for the box runs, giving that other soul opportunities to the rest of their team. I mean, I feel like it's really the perfect surrounding for the Calico. So yeah, you could highlight Calico on their own, but it's a team game. There's no I in team. And obviously Abraham's very cohesive as one team by now.
I feel like someone out there is going to go out of their way and be like, well, I've put an I in team. It's like, it doesn't, no one said it had to be grammatically correct is where we're at. But
the answer is usually there's a me in team, which I can't really disagree with. Technically.
In any case, pretty big gap in styles between what we saw from Lodos versus VP and Abrahams. Lodos versus VP felt significantly closer, even though VP was basically able to stick to their game plan the entire time and did get what they wanted. In this case, Abraham's got everything they wanted from the draft on and pummeled Lodos in a way that wasn't particularly close at any point in the game. So, yeah, I think when you see situations like this where you saw Lodos playing VP, by comparison, significantly closer, you have to play or put a lot of the blame on this on the draft and how the draft ended up transpiring. And look, if you're Lodos, I mean, every map does matter. And, I hope from Lodos to see a little bit of change ups going forward. But, taking a look at the stat line here, nothing too surprising. If we had a further breakdown, it'd probably be Hoot just, he's devoured the entire map. Is what I'd expect for a lot of the soul breakdown. Jam side, super consistent at the end. And, I mean, no surprises for me.
Yeah, all the assists going to the Holiday, which grabbed a lot of good lassos in that game. Felt like every time we heard it, it had grabbed someone, except one time we were able to see. So, yeah. I would bet good internet money, ZP. I would bet you 20 internet monies that Calico is banned first.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. But I'm glad you're betting the good internet monies and not the bad internet monies, because then I just would question, how much faith do you actually have in this prediction? But, yeah, I don't think that. And also, okay, yeah, you take a look at Lodos, they banned the Calico. They want no part of that. Abraham's, though, with these sorts of bans as the backdrop, I would expect if Lodos doesn't take it here in the second pick, because I think Lodos is second pick and have one more pick pending in this instance, I would expect them to try to deny the Shiv, because I think otherwise Shiv is the other hero that they really highly prioritize because together looks better on it than anything else. And we'll see if Lodos decides to deny it here or not.
I had a Shiv on their team, so I mean it's definitely playable for them. But that is what we're waiting for. The Wraith ban coming up for Abrahams, by the way. Good call.
They do it.
Good call.
Yeah. Yeah, this I like to see at the very minimum is that you're at least forcing Abrahams to show you a different look. You're not telling Abrahams, hey, just take everything you want on a silver platter. Everything you've ever wanted, sure, grab it in our draft. Pick for Abrahams here, kind of expecting the Mirage. Like, everything else that's still available, and the fact that range DPS is going to be a little bit more of a premium with the Wraith ban, I would guess Mirage is going to be the next pick here. I mean, there's a few other ways it could go. I mean, there's a world where, because they're down a little bit on frontliners, that they can decide to prio Yamato, but I think for how Abrams plays, they'd probably want to just lock in the Mirage.
I'm guessing it too. Infernus, if it's available down the draft as well. Well, there's also the Magician that they might want to grab, right? So that could come in instead. But what is their priority?
Well, particularly the Warden. Like, Sinclair is another good shout for earlier in the draft, but realistically, depending on how aggro Lodos is going to be on denying it or like picking some of this in their own, they're probably not going to both. But okay, they do in fact go with the Mirage. If you're Lodos, I think you kind of the point you brought up here, probably either want to pick the Sinclair or ban the Sinclair rather than just giving up to Abrams, where Saint loves playing Sinclair.
Yeah. Which will be coming in soon. Viscus also was included last time it was banned out. So if they wanted to, they didn't get around to it fast enough. So how was Viscus going to play? I mean, I'll ask you when the draft is done, actually, because we're still waiting for it to complete. Magician ban.
We'll see. I'll say this in the Viscus note. While some teams have done it, and it's like, ooh, I can't believe you've done this. Like, historically, it discourages things like coming in with a later game Mo pick. That's a little bit less likely, though. Hey, stranger things happen. But overall, it's not like the best if you go in for a combo and all of a sudden someone's enmeshed in a gooey green cube.
It's the best place to be. That's why Viscus says, what does he say? He says the cube, but he also says like so safe or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, I'm squishy, and
I love Viscus so much, actually. As soon as I discovered their lore, I was like, that's my favorite lore background. Tied probably with Sinclair, though, because I love that Romeo and Juliet turned sour idea. But anyway, this isn't a lore podcast, although I wish it did exist. The ban was on Yamato, by the way.
Yeah.
Which it means that Sinclair is open.
Yeah, Sinclair is still open. I mean, again, you kind of look at what Abraham's lacking. A little bit of extra frontline would have made a little bit sense here. So, I mean, for Lotus to get rid of it, not ultra surprising given the circumstances. But yeah, I think Sinclair is pretty darn likely here, where Lotus is going to have first pick coming out of the mid-stage ban. So they can just pick Sinclair, even though they didn't ban it. And that may be the play here because I think the odds that okay, they go to Holiday. I don't know if I love that because you can not only go Sinclair here, but I think Abrahams, this is feeling like a well, you've taken Tass's Holiday, why not bring out the Bebop sort of game?
You think? Bebop? All
Yep,
right. All
it
right.
may be time.
Okay. 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 And they banned Vindicta, by the way. Just really curious seeing her rise to prominence again, as you were saying. I guess there was a meta previously.
Yep, Vindicta at one point was first banned, first pick territory. I mean, heck, for VP, there was a point where we saw Mikhail S playing nothing but Vindicta for a while of all people, but you know
Cool.
that era is past. Even though now Vindicta is getting used a little bit more, and you know, it's just where it goes. Some of these things have logic involved to it, and other times it don't. Teams like, yeah, I just don't like that hero this week, and it's like, okay,
Right? When you're like, I think I know what the optimal play is for the professional here, and then they're just like, and they do something, and you're like, either I'm not big brain enough, or I'm just gonna admit that I'm confused. And you ask them, and they're like, I don't know, I just felt like it. You're like, great, thanks. Like I could ever read that in commentary. But it is I thought the Infernus would be kind of left, but I guess you can
no,
choose two at a time, right? So the Sinclair
yeah.
does come through as well as the Infernus, and then that last one maybe another frontline. You think?
Yeah, I mean, could go frontline, or I mean, at times teams have like just stack the deck with more damaging options. I mean, let me think here. What is left here? Let me just look at some draft history and.
So not the Moe and Krill, first of all, because of the viscous, right?
Yeah, well, probably not. I mean, there's always a world where it's like, actually, yes, the Moan Krill. And let me just
I mean, Abrams
give
technically.
myself some inspiration. Abrams is something that, like, Together has played Abrams a lot in his pool when Shiv is not available. Actually, I'm looking at like a lot of previous games, and Abrams Together, you have to go pretty far back to get him not on Shiv. Is the interesting thing. And like Yamato is one of the other heroes that like Together would oftentimes play and all that. But yeah, I'm looking at like previous games versus VP and recent memory. It's just nothing but Shiv in a lot of recent memory.
You called the Bebop earlier on in the draft. They actually do
Yep.
pick it for the finale. So good call there. And then Lash and Pocket for Lotus.
You know, I'm looking at this in terms of who Together is on, and this is so okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I think we both have interesting enough points. But do you like the those Bebop first into Lash and Pocket? Do you like the Lash into the Pocket? Is that fine?
The Lash into
the Bebop. Sorry.
No, the Bebop is fine. I mean, look, I'm never gonna begrudge Task going Bebop ever because Task's Bebop is ridiculous. I think Task can make it work no matter what. But you kind of look at what we're expecting here, hero wise, on the Abraham's end. It's like you're gonna get Taz on the Bebop. You're gonna get Saint again on the Sinclair, Jamside and Furnace. Trying to think, it's probably gonna be Hoot on Geist, where Hoot is really, really good on Geist. And thinking about, is this a world where I think we actually get the rare like Together on Kelvin? Like by process of elimination, that feels like what we're gonna get here, which we haven't seen that in a long time. Actually, like I'm thinking about historically what I've been on is like we have not seen that in a while, just because teams have been willing to give Abraham's like Shiv for free in most games. Like I was like, yeah, I guess I'll play Shiv this game. Every game just get Shiv. Not so much here.
I mean, do you like the drafting phase of Lotus this time around, right? It definitely doesn't feel like they gave Abrahams as much of free reign. They might have even taken a hero that they would have really desired. But overall, is this looking good enough for Lotus to have a stronger start? And then we can see what brews from that.
Yeah, I mean, on face value, I think this is way better. If nothing else, you've gotten, like, overall, in terms of power picks, like, it's still pretty competitive meta-wise, but you haven't given Abrahams all the things that they are good at. You've forced changes. Again, you would have to go back pretty far to find the last game, I think, where Together was on Kelvin. The rest of it, pretty similar. I don't think we've seen, like, Hoot on Geist a ton in, like, super recent memory, but it is in Hoot's hero pool, and, like, Hoot is a versatile enough player that he's probably going to make it work. I mean, heck, on the same note, there's also a world where we see the Hoot Bebop instead. Hoot's Bebop is historically really good, even though Taz's Bebop is good. So there's always a chance for a little bit of a reversal there. Like Hoot's Bebop is how he came to prominence back when he was playing on the illy named team in Maidong, where somehow I got cursed by the same people in two different games with that name.
Wait, what name was it?
Maidong was the name. The genesis of that was it was Too Good thought it would be really funny in early Overwatch to tell his team that had people playing out of the Too Good house to name themselves My Dong. And then those people came back, had a little bit of a stint in Deadlock, and they're like, you know what we should rename as a team name? My Dong.
Wow, amazing. They could
Yep.
just, if someone had a problem with it, could just be like, it's Korean. It isn't, but it's kind of close to Jaedong, so
Yep.
good enough excuse. But maybe something a little more serious is better. So good choice. Although I do think calling yourself Abrahams is interesting, and then using Abrams, where did that come into play? Like, why wasn't Abrams?
Honestly, I have no idea. I just think like this roster used to be mostly the old Paravision roster, and they're no longer with Paravision. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure they put a ton of thought into the name. I'm just gonna be real on that one. It was, it's kind of things. Are you just naming things that you see on your screen? Sort of deals. Like, yes.
I would love it if they were like, let's name ourselves Abrams, and then they submitted it, some virtual form they can't take back, and they're like, that's how you spell Abrams, right?
we don't mention the forms in Deadlock. You may not be aware of the even deeper lore where there was an international competition tried, and teams got told they had to play on Spain servers because of the form.
What?
It's a deep cut. It's a deep cut that ended up with a caster like arguing with players on Discord, which never ends well.
Ooh, like, yeah, that's always a
no. It's like okay, this man is jumping into the lion's den. See what the Romans did and just watch some dude get devoured by. Don't get into Discord players when they're angry with you about a form of all things.
Oh, absolutely not.
Not a good idea. But we're getting into it. We'll get our answers on who is playing what here soon, as Abrahams is forced to change things around, and once again, gonna be a Bebop here in the middle. It looks like Bebop in Sinclair.
Saint MXM is on Kelvin, and Together is on Geist. Was that part of your possibilities?
I wasn't actively thinking, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I guess it makes more sense than putting Together on Kelvin overall.
Okay, all right.
Because I was like, I was trying to think, like, I don't know if we've seen that, or if we did see it was like a very, very long time ago, but Saint has vastly more experience on the Kelvin, so that does make far more sense.
Okay, all right. We'll get the rest of the players up as well very, very soon. Pressure's already being applied. Abraham's pushing it quite hard on the right. And maybe some action over on the left, too. Nothing resulting in any kills as of yet. Mid lane goes back to Bebop, by the way, so really simple. If they get the hook, it's good. If they don't, then maybe it's not as good. Analysis, guys. And this Sinclair always makes any lane kind of scary.
It's funny, but that's just the reality of like any MOBA game. Realistically, the hook character is like land hook, best character in game. Don't land hook, not very good.
Right.
That's just with us forever. All in all.
Yeah. You got the names? What do you think? Tass is on Bebop. Hoots is on the Mirage. And it's Saf actually on the wait.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Also,
Magician, right.
Yeah, I thought maybe it would have been Hoot on the Geist because he would play a lot of Geist. But also, when you're at one frontliner and Together is usually your frontliner, putting Together on the Geist probably is the most natural thing. Oh man, from downtown, down goes Coffin.
Oh man, terribly unfortunate too. I mean, I think the 1v1 was looking okay. I mean, but the Magician's power really can't be underestimated. I feel like it's almost nature to underestimate the Magician because he uses a wand that doesn't have the sickest sound effect or attack animation. If I'm being real, and then you just get burned by him so quickly, and you're like, okay, never making that mistake again.
Yeah, the stuff of terrible bedtime stories is like, oh yeah, he used to be way stronger.
I know. I loved that phase. I was so good at that phase, EP. I chose Magician and I put down Assistant. It was easy.
Yeah, because in the end, it's like, when you have one of the best characters in the game, everything feels good at that point. No one else is managing that, but also striking on the right hand side. Down goes Force.
Yeah. Forrest never really getting an opportune moment to shine as Warden, honestly. I mean, maybe some of the games in their last series wasn't too bad, but certainly last game, he never got a chance to shine, and I'm afraid it's going to happen again in this game. Okay. I thought the Puddle Punch might actually be effective. It was not quite enough to send Bebop back.
Alrighty. So, he's an opening here from Abrahams once more. See if Taz will get things moving on the hook side. I mean, it's kind of funny. A lot of Bebop heroes like, I don't know if it's going to be a thing. Taz often inspiring more reliability than Norm. But of course, we haven't had a pause this series. Or actually, we did have a pause, maybe, I think. I don't know. Did we have a pause last month?
I don't think we did.
Remember. Okay.
I don't think we did. Yeah.
Well, we had to have one in the series, or are you even playing Deadlock?
It's right on time, man. It's right on time. Yeah. So, question for you. Who's your favorite background lore-wise?
Who is my favorite background in the, character background in the lore? That is a good question from the lore that, has been steadily heading out there. I mean, in terms of the actual, not so much the lore, but the description, just the fact that they're keeping the idea of, Jacob Lash is an asshole as like an actual description in the game, which is why I can say it on broadcast. Not that it's like that bad a word, but it's like, it's just like, I'm curious how long they keep that in there. Yeah, it's kind of interesting on the lore. I don't know if it's like classified in like favorite or not favorite, but I do enjoy things like the Bebop Lash lore and like how stuff like that is going to be expanded upon. I mean, it's a kind of a one-sided thing. I don't think Bebop actually cares that much about Lash. Lash is just, anyone that invades his ego, he's just getting
obviously, yeah, because he's an asshole. I get one too if you get one.
Yeah, there you go.
That's fair. But yeah, no, I dug deep, man. Every time I was studying anything about the abilities, I saw that lore button. I was like, let's check that one out too. But guys, we did have a Guardian go down on the left side. So Lotus actually were the ones who grabbed the Guardian, right? Or wait, no. They are blocked. That is my mistake, guys. It is Lotus, unfortunately, losing the first Guardian in mid, which does sound more on what we were talking about, so that makes more sense.
Meanwhile, Bebop again tastes of his own medicine, again dragged around for a moment. Okay, you're gonna throw me in a lasso? Like, what if I throw you in a hook and call in my buddy? It's getting real cold in here, cube or no. And take a look, Ray not gonna be able to escape. So decent buff control coming out here from Abrahams, and you look at the kill feed, it's starting to fill up with a whole lot of yellow.
Yes, it is. Abrahams finding kill after kill after kill. Pushing forward as well for a second Guardian. Sai also goes down. That seems very, very likely. Yep, that second Guardian is going to go ahead and fall. What went wrong so quickly?
I mean, it doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much. It's just a handful of fights, and all of a sudden you're down a few Guardians down a little bit more. Your Holiday that you'd expect to be roaming around the map is now just spending more time in viscous cubes in deep prayer as a bomb sends you back to spawn. I mean, and this is stuff that we take for granted at times when we see like Abrahams versus VP or VP versus one-win team. It's so easy for the highest skill players to punish mistakes and turn small mistakes into bigger mistakes.
I guess that's the way to put it. This is
small mistakes in the bigger plays, I should say. I mean, I guess you are making the bigger mistakes, but either way.
Depends on, yeah, I guess you could figure it out either way. But I guess that is the summary of it. It's just, there was an opening, and then it was more and more, and now two Guardians are dead. Saf at least does fall, so turn damage, affliction. Not yet. Not yet. It's still actually on cooldown. So, not totally terrible. I mean, you don't get demoralized on how things have gone here, as maybe the Bebop also can be in some trouble. Toss trying to escape away, but two are on the... Did he juke?
Look, yeah, he broke their ankles, is exactly what I'm saying here. How a gigantic robot with very loud sound breaks her ankles, I'm not sure. I mean, just test things, I suppose.
Yeah. I suppose so. So an escape and healing right and back into the fray.
Oh.
Even, oh man, the hook comes in when you think that maybe Bebop's still recovering, and Lash is not going to be in too much trouble. Should be able to escape. There's the Viscous there to help out, which that's really been Viscous just trying to cube people to keep them alive a little while longer. There you have it, exactly. But are they pushing back in any way? No, not really. Left side maybe a bit. Abrams had left the Guardian a little under defended, but now they're jumping on top of the Lash, so that wasn't really a moment that Lotus was hoping for. And then a right side battle also going down. Yeah, that shit was just... He tried to push when no one was around, but two people came into dust.
Alright. Back here taking a look at Sane. Frozen Shelter. Long cooldown, but just a little bit of rescue beam to your friendly Geist as...
Did that miss
Pocket Affliction
entirely?
comes in. It looks like it... Well, it missed Geist. I'm not sure if it hit Kelvin there, and yeah, I mean, now the counter pressure coming on in. Guardian under assault, and that's actually super rough. Like, having a whiffed pocket ult at this point in the game when you're trying to look for tempo in lane sets you back even more when already you're kind of getting the business across the map.
Well, the Viscous Cube to try and save the day. Just always feels so temporary. I'd love to be that the hype, you know, the reason that they come back is they actually saved a man, and now that man can come back with the ultimate, and then, you know, oh my goodness, Viscous is such a baller. But Viscous is really just trying to clean him up mess, really, a lot of the time. Getting some hope to his teammates, but maybe not enough. Ball comes rolling in, but where is the backup? It's going to be Shiv and Viscous trying to take on Bebop and Shiv, and I don't know if it's going super well. On the right side, where you're looking at that fight, as I am speaking, Mirage on the hunt, gets the Holiday, and is looking for the Warden up next. It's actually going to be a little bit more of a contentious fight. Could be a little bit troublesome for the Mirage. Of course, the Guardian helped out so much. The Guardian helped out so much of the punch. Finally, we get a highlight moment for Force, who unfortunately has not had the greatest warden time, but that was it, man. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, Guardian helped out, but also I feel like the immediate target acquisition as to where the warden was, I think they were maybe thinking the warden would be like heading their way, and Ward's like, nope, I'm just going to hold the corner. I'm going to hold the corner up to the right, and that's going to be the thing. Yeah, though, you know, moments of life here from Lodos, but we'll see if they're able to keep it up. You know, taking a quick check-in on the income allocation and where we're at right now. You know, I think there's a saving grace for Lodos. You kind of get the sense that, okay, Together definitely hasn't been on Geist as much recently, where usually you see Geist, like, tied with top, and, you know, Together a little bit behind, even though lane-wise things haven't necessarily been that bad, so, you know, there's that. You don't have to deal with, like, the Turbo Farm Geist, but you do have to deal with a, well, I was gonna say deal with the Mirage that's ahead, but or you just kill the Mirage. Take some of his souls, bring it down a little bit.
That's always good. Shiv. Yeah, he's gonna have to go back to the Walker to help out. Frozen Shelter around mid is just another attempt to try and stay alive. Cass picks up the urn while this is going down. I'm not sure there's definitely an opportunity, I think, to go straight across the map with this, and there are movements from Lodos to actually deny it. Sometimes we've had these urns just have to be the sacrifice for something else, basically, like maybe something better, but just something else in general, because you realize you can't defend it. But this could be the difference. There's perilous stun. Shit can't do anything right now. It might still just be able to win. The killing blows. Look at go! Seconds away. Not even a second, like milliseconds away. But while that was exciting and that was happening, it looks like that movement over to Urn did not really follow through. And the Urn was gotten no problem whatsoever. Bebop deposited as quick as possible and is back on the front lines looking to help push this Walker for Abrahams.
I gotta say, that was the biggest jump scare Jamside ever had in his life. They're like, am I dead? Am I dead? Am I dead? Like, fall, please. And yeah, it does eventually fall. But yeah, I mean, Abraham's still nursing a tiny lead here so far, but Lodos, you know, make it interesting. Interesting enough, in terms of income allocation, is it ideal that your Lash be your most farm player on the team? Not necessarily. Is it a threat and like better than some other people than being farmed at times? At times, yes. So, you know, we'll see if Lodos is able to get the most out of this last year in the neutral play. Death Slam is back up. I mean, there's a world, especially as we come up on another urn, that makes a difference.
I'm going to start cheering just hardcore for the underdog, just to get it rallied, you know. But that included Force, right? Didn't have a great game last time. I didn't get too many highlights in the previous series. Looks okay on Souls. Oh. All right, I know that's not like very much, but it could be a difference. The lasso is effective. Roush, unfortunately, dying to their own ultimates, such as the way of Sinclair.
Yeah, Sinclair, pretty good with the lasso, as it turns out. A quick learner. And, yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the brutal parts about Sinclair, if you pick Holiday into it, is that you also give Sinclair one of the best pickoff tools if he just happens to see your Holiday.
I love trade out for Hoot, or it was Taos and Force, excuse me, who's still alive and well, actually. Looking towards the mid lane where there's not a lot of defenses. Going with the minions, too. That Walker could be in trouble. The left side Walker is definitely in trouble. Little 1v1 duel that we're watching right now. The end in Geist's death absolutely does. Together is out of the equation. But elsewhere, the Walker on the left did go down. Mid lane Walker now being defended by the Lash. Is that going to be good enough? Certainly seems so. Mirage not really pushing much of the issue. And it actually moved away, or died. That's why. I was like, where'd he go? He did die. So maybe just got, was it ulted into it? No, Lash still has the ult. Could come in later on as the fight continues on the left side. Thought they disengage a little bit more, but Pyro falls. They're not disengaging.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that, okay, Pyro dying, this is kind of a problem now as the game goes on, where you look at, okay, who do you need to have your income as you go a little bit deeper, and your Shiv being broke is, well, not broke per se, but like behind the curve and certainly not ahead of it. Like Shiv is behind pretty much everyone in Abraham's right now, even though the aggregate isn't that bad. So, you know, fear for your life on that hook there. It's not ideal, and I do look at this and wonder, okay, at 15k, as Lash, do you actually need to be taking your team's Gamba right now? I don't know. I remain unconvinced.
This might not be some communication that's going down just because there's been a lot of other things to communicate about, right? Like especially having back-to-back games. Maybe it's on purpose, just to be clear. Like I don't know, but it just maybe the decision to start to send that elsewhere. Of course, had to take the Sinner's sacrifice because he had found someone trying to grab it. Now he got to fight. The lasso comes in as the combustion did not work out, and Jamside is taken down. Did you just move on to his account? What? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No, Jamside got yelled at by someone. I was like, yeah, you can no longer be Violator. You must actually become Jamside again. Meanwhile, oh, you're asking for the ball on ball. We got ball on ball right now, and the ball's getting slammed on down. This is more action than a pinball machine right now. Is they're just fighting each other in the corridor. Who's actually winning? God only knows. But now back over the Kelvin View Frozen Shelter Ray for saying looking to assist here from afar as fight goes a little bit deeper into Lotos's territory.
I love how much the balls couldn't kill each other. You know, so there's some duels that end up being real fast and real difficult to predict, I suppose. And there's some duels that'll last forever, and that was that one. So no one dying, despite the rest of the team kind of crowding around the potential and having already moved away. So we need Lotus to push back some of these lanes. Unfortunately, 2 relegated to that task on the left side means that they're a little short on the right as their walker, their second walker could possibly be going down. There's a lot of people from Abraham's there. I actually thought they would push that a little bit harder, but deciding not to. The urn is now the choice. And that, you know, they're going to need to go and get that urn and also clear up the left lane, make sure that that walker isn't taking unnecessary damage, which I guess he's going to do a 2-for-1 as the magician gets set up for it.
Yeah, also, I mean, should it turn into an urn fight, this is kind of the time you want to go here. Death Slam is still on cooldown, so you have this window where you can really set the terms here on the left. Now, they haven't brought everyone over. They still have, like, the Shiv and Lash in the area. So I don't know if you can go for the raw turn-in, but you have a very short window to do so, if that's your plan. The urn turn is going to be fully contested here by Lotus. Lotus going on in. Putting Jamside under the gun. Trying to get here, rotation up to the top. Not going to do it before getting caught by the Shiv. And now, urn... more in play here as you get more coming on in.
Yeah, so I thought the magician was going to be part of this from the get-go, but maybe thinking of trying to get that walker in the middle. Maybe they thought they could get both, which they don't get both, but they also aren't punished for losing a man there temporarily. So they do end up getting the urn and obviously push that lane back on the left side. A little bit of that right side pressure now from Lotus, though. You know, if you are not going to be available to stop them on the left, try and find something on the right. And that's what they're doing. Last stand copied, now in action on top of the walker as well, looking for the kills. Unfortunately, the actual Warden running out of the last stand forced to just run out of this fight, and I'm not sure they are going to be able to survive. Do we have a chase? Yes, we absolutely do. It's 3-on-2. The Paco will be the first to fall. Can't do anything about that, and Force falls after, which means that walker on the left side is going down. Abraham's continuing to push the objectives. Abraham's continuing to save the objective, excuse me. And that is my bad. Actually, I got so confused, so that is totally my fault. Abraham's barely saving the left side walker once again. Right side was the sacrifice. All right, that's where the push was happening. That's where we finally did see the walker attained for Lotus. And it's not such a crazy game. Yes, there is a 9k difference in the souls, but the objectives kind of even out. 2 up for Abraham's, 1 up for Lotus.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing here that's, I think, the most damning for Lotus is just... they've been playing it relatively evenly, but where they have their souls is a little bit amiss. Like, your Lash is super rich, your Warden and your Shiv are not. The ability to actually win some of these fights straight up is pretty severely compromised right now, but we got the Rejuvenator coming on down. Abraham's looking for it. If there's a steal, I think there's someone up in the rafters right now. What's going to happen here? And no, they don't go for a steal. They're just a clean Rejuve, and, you know, for Lotus, we'll see if they defend. Reasonable ability to defend evenly, though. Minus the allocation I just mentioned. It's a lot depending on the Lash.
Yeah, and the Lash is currently back in the base, unable to help out this pocket that could be in a little bit of trouble. Flying poke might be able to save the day. Yeah, it does. I mean, good call on the mid, right? Not enough around mid to actually try and pressure it or go for any type of steal. So they're able to get that nice and clean. But this is not where you're going to get that overbearing pressure, I would say. As TAS even goes down, so yeah, you're not going to necessarily get that overbearing pressure that just says, okay, this is the lead to the next mid that actually wins the game. I think there's a solid chance for Lotus to defend, keep some of their lanes up, keep that Walker up as well. I think it is absolutely possible, but they really would love a second Walker. The flex slot's now becoming more of an issue as you get deeper into the game.
Take a look at how this is going to pan out. I mean, you can trust Abraham's is going to be good for one big attempted push here before Rejuvenator ends up. Right now, they're just pushing up lanes. Of course, also aided by the Rejuvenator at the same time, powering up your waves. So there they go. But, a little bit Gamba at the enemy's expense. It's the enemy jungle right now. And you kind of look at how Abrams is handling this here. They're just being economical about it. They're taking their jungle before going in for the full attack. Lotus right now also kind of doing much the same. And you take a look, you got Rayek right now looking for a grab. Up here over, Lasso charged up, ready to go. And I don't think liked the opportunity that they saw.
That's not. So sometimes when that Rejuvenator is taken, in fact, all the times really of the last like 6 or 7 casts that we've done, whatever it was, it really has led to almost game over, right? Like shrines were pushed in and the patron went down. This is one of those ones where the rejuve is obviously great to have, but it's not necessarily game deciding. Still that 9k difference that I'd mentioned minutes ago, by the way. So Lotus is staying on par at least. Would love to get some type of lead, and obviously would love to get that Walker. Some of us is on the left side. Unfortunately, not nearly as many people on the side of Lotus as the rest are either farming or trying to push back mid. So that's not going to be an option there. But when you have Rejuve being used to clean up lanes and have like an even push, right, as well, I mean, that can feel kind of nice. Maybe you continue to do this until the Rejuve actually expires. And then you're like, well, that wasn't the worst Rejuve I've ever handled, you know? And I think that might be the case here, even though we got one for Lotus in some deep trouble. Yeah, this does go down. And the urn can be taken by the looks of things. There's too many on the left side. Are they going to teleport over to try and deny it?
I think they should. I mean, even though you're down one, it's kind of a rough fight. Your Lash, you've invested so much in your Lash. You want your Lash at a big team fight. And okay, in this case, more on the left side. I think this is totally fine as they go here. If Lash is able to convert. I mean, so much is on the Lash play here. We'll see if it pans out. Lodos looking for a way to trade out evenly. They lose their pocket. Are they going to get a little bit of turn the other way? Instead, we got Lash running around here as a bunny. Hot pursuit in from the Sinclair, and not quite the team fight engage you needed here. Still, like, really dangerous on a good ground strike, but damage chasing very overwhelming and just doesn't get the opportunity.
Yeah, I think there might have been a picturesque setup in mind for that left lane push from Lotus. Because they did not have it to stop the urn when they made that decision. But the pocket going down pretty quickly, and then I think Lash was basically just almost like physically stopped from getting into a great location with Magician on his butt. Just resulted in nothing for Lotus, and worse than nothing, negative, because they also lost their Walker on the right side. Rejuve's still available too, although the mid lane needs to be pushed back a little bit. We can have Abraham try and run with this momentum while 2 people are still down and grab some base guardians.
Base Guardians under assault here now. Abraham's now getting what could be a game-defining lead. Lodo's just getting back up to full strength at the moment. But you take a look at the map, there's full map control in favor of Abraham's. And one upside for Lodos is that even though down about 25k, still options to bring it back between the Holiday and the Lash. It's kind of one of those things where Abrahams has to be real careful not to fall into a trap where someone gets lassoed, they go to fall through, get death slammed into last stand. Like, the team fight potential of Lodos is quite high, and Abraham still has to kind of play this by the book.
The Rejuve gone. Not as much risk-taking. Can be acquired, but lots of the farming going through. The lanes have really come out even. Again, one of the bugaboos here for Lotus is that those 2 walkers are still up. Even when they've made a concession on the urn, they were unable to grab the walker. They might have a moment here 4-on-2. Lasso is effective as well, so that's going to bring Bebop potentially into a death zone, actually barely able to escape up to the bridge. Nicely done. And the rest of Abrahams is now coming over to try and ensure that that walker does not go down once again. And this is just going to get really demoralizing if Lotus can't be able to pick this up. It's so close to dying. It should just die. It should just die. It should just click on it. Absolutely does click on it. How much is that going to cost Lotus is often the question. Only so far one going down. Pyro also falling, however. The rest of Lotus trying to get the heck out of dodge before that gets even worse. Actually, the Warden Force right now trying to sneak in the mid-walker too. Don't know if that's getting low at all. Nicely done on the counter spell. Can they chase him down now, or Lash be able to escape as the Warden continues to try and do something against the walker? I don't know if he's diving on it. He might have been trying to dive on it. Oh yeah, it's so low. It's so low. Force almost got them a 2 for, well, not exactly a 2 for 1 because a lot of people died, but at least they almost got 2 walkers.
Also, we don't have a timer. I think mid-boss is like pretty close to coming back up here. We're taking a look at positioning here. We got Sinclair going back to the middle. Bebop going for the quick buy. I may be wrong, but there may be like a window here to get mid-boss before Warden is up. I was not timing it. Also, in terms of big power spikes, we got Refresher just coming online here from Kelvin. So Abrahams with some big buys right after. Now congregating near the middle. Might be wrong on the mid-boss timing. You know, it's a matter of it's like, is it close or is it close enough that you get it free? And it's looking less like that. But hey, if you get another pick off here, we can redefine the terms of the conversation as we see Viscous try the goo ball out of there.
Sidos go down. Able to get a proper engagement. Affliction did happen. I just don't know if it hit anyone. Maybe Hoot, who is ticking down right there, but very temporary measure. Plenty of time. I mean, surprised they just ran back to farm, I guess. It'll eventually heal back up, is my point. Mid-boss is here. So, I mean, kind of, you know, a little bit what you're talking about, right? Not nearly as maybe just free and wide open, but we do still have a man down for Lotus and the lane being pushed. The mid-boss is going to be taken by Abrahams, unless Lotus make a play for it, which doesn't seem like the current setup that they are going to, which really gets them back again to defending. And while they did make it, like, really not the worst Richu we've ever seen moment, like, it doesn't bode well the more that you get mids over to your opponents and the more that you can't take out the last walk, although it finally does go down. Finally does. Kofan actually goes in and grabs it.
I mean, the problem for Lotus here is that they're running out of time. I mean, Abraham's looking... Okay, if they go for the next turn, it's going to have to go in the enemy territory. But I think there's also more counterspells involved. I don't think it's just the Geist in this instance. Could be wrong. But, you know, so Lash ult impact has been a little bit hit over time. And, I mean, Earn Turn is going over here. As the rest of Abraham's just doing a little bit of lane clear, setting the stage. And enjoying what is a nearly 30k lead, where, again, if I have a problem here with the Lotus play, like, Warden has caught on up, but, you know, it's even out a bit, but the fact that, like, your Shiv has been behind the entire game in part because your Lash has been taking a lot of the farm, I don't know if that was the greatest approach to this game.
Something to look back on for the future, but that Urn was successfully returned for Abrams, continuing their lead now up to about 35k in souls. Lotus, they still have the potential for a really great team fight. Again, with that rejuve, the risk can be taken for Abrahams to push that issue. They already got one set of base guardians, they got the flex slot, but they are looking to just open up more opportunities and potentially get the shrines, which, yeah, they weren't even close to getting in the last rejuve situation. So obviously benefited from it and continued on gaining more and more leads.
Everyone hates Jamside. That's what I've learned here. Everyone grouped together in one cause. Kill Jamside. Guess what? Frozen Shelter is going to come down. Are you actually going to succeed in that cause? As the double Frozen Shelter, Ice and Fire combining for a deadly result here in the left lane. And that's going to be Abrahams able to secure Jamside. You know who doesn't hate Jamside? His team. Well,
Yeah.
at least in gameplay. Who knows about actuality?
Right, yeah. They recognize his importance in the gameplay. Very fun battle right there, but nicely executed on the side of Abrahams. As the Lows do take down the shrines, and the Patron are going to go down too. And I think there is a chance to stick around and grab that last Patron and end the game, especially as Kofan goes down too. That's only one person up. Sai doesn't even have the Affliction. Can't even hope that they all group up in the pit and go for it. Not for another, I don't know, 30 seconds is that? So, yeah, just the holiday.
Even if he had his, like, I would like to spew frogs on it. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. Victory, going over the way of the Abrahams. I mean, again, kind of what we expected coming on in. The number one team in Europe, looking every bit the part. They got a draft that was not their, like they did in map one.
Right. That first series was not pretty. The second game was their favor, but there were some pretty for Lotus. Again, they do seem to be making a few more plays, even on the brink. Right, they're down, they're going further down. Unfortunately, not catching back up, but they're making some plays, trying to grab what's important, or trying to at least get something in return with the walkers, for instance. But having to give up that many urns. It was at least 3 right on the side of Abraham's.
Yep.
And then also never getting mid, never contesting mid either. It really was just staying afloat for a long time, which is not the best compliment, except that it is against Abraham's, and so staying afloat against them is actually still kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Lotos for having we talked about, some of the bad luck other teams had scheduling. I would say Lotos actually maybe had the worst luck of the day, having to go against both One Win and Abraham's. I mean, not One Win, VP and Abraham's. I mean, that was a rough go. And I mean, against VP, they didn't necessarily look bad, even though VP was always in control. And while they got blown out in map 1 because, well, you cannot give gods that much power, I mean, map 2 here did not look as bad. Like, Abraham's favored, absolutely. But when you talk about rest of the tournament and ways going forward, I would favor Lotus over some of the other teams in the tournament now, from what I saw here today. And, at the end of the day, even if you fall behind the top 3, still a good, decent sized chunk for getting number 4. So still lots to play for, even if you're not on the very top end at the moment.
Yeah, and we're learning what these teams are looking like that come in that aren't the top 3, or you could say top 4 with melee creeps as well. As far as, I guess, name recognition, right? We're getting a sense of what the rest of the teams can bring and potential for the future. And Lotus, well, today, maybe, yeah, I'd say the most promising, right? Because they went up against the scariest players. So absolutely the most promising.
Yeah, because I mean, you stop and think about like recent results too. It would be actually the toughest schedule just by recent results. It's basically an Abraham's 1, VP 2 into 1 win number 3. So yeah, I mean they drew the worst straw of all, and while they didn't take a map, didn't look necessarily all that bad. Stuff to build on here for the future. But take a look at the score screen again. Nothing too ultra surprising here. Actually, one thing of worth a note is that even though like Saint obviously top heal in the game, I would compare this to what we see from Obakim, and like Obakim's ability to just like stack healing is kind of ridiculous. Like the gap VP has at times when they run Kelvin versus like even other top teams, something to be had there in terms of the level of support that gets pumped out.
22,000 versus top 10 or 7 rather. Like that's a pretty considerable difference. So that is a good point. Everyone pulling their weight as expected on Abraham's and Lotus. Just not really getting a great start with the first game, and then second game we saw a little bit more of that promise. But I'm looking forward to the future. I'm going to continue cheering for them. They're like my underdog choice, I think. Now I'm just going to come up with a Lotus shirt. I'm going to find out what the image of the flower looks like. And it's going to be great. But that is it for today, guys. That is all the matches we had to play. Griga Gaming 1-1 Melee Creeps. Griga Gaming 1-1 Fearless Furies. 1 win, obviously doing well against Fearless Furies and Jakar. Virtus Pro doing as well as expected. Abraham's doing as well as expected. So we're going to take a look at what is happening tomorrow. So the schedule for tomorrow starts nice and early, or just perfectly timed for those in Europe. We got Jakar Lotus, Jakar Melee Creeps getting back-to-back, Virtus Pro getting back-to-back. Just more mixing and matching when it comes to the group stage. Anyone that you're looking forward to in particular, CP?
Yeah, as I look at the schedule here and look at, okay, let's see, bit by bit. VP versus Melee Creeps. It may be cross-continental, but you have both of these teams were number 1 in their respective regions for most of the last month before they both got dethroned recently. But the reality is that is still one heck of a matchup. And yeah, it may not be the full Melee Creeps because, they got Letha running in there as a ringer, but that match to me probably going to be match of the day. Runner-up on that, of course, Abraham's 1 win. An old classic. Teams have played each other a whole lot in recent memory, and guaranteed to be one of the best matches of the group stage yet.
Yeah, which I think we'll be able to cast that one. So looking forward to what turns out. Some one-sidedness happening in today's games. Sure, that's going to happen when you're getting started and you got some favorites going into a group stage, and you can see exactly who comes out on top. One win team, Virtus Pro, just because Abrams they didn't get us as much playtime.
Yeah, it's like Abraham's. You guys are really slacking. Only 2-0. It's like, but we only got 2 maps. What do you want from us?
Yeah.
But
Melee
overall,
creeps. Good lord. Look forward to that tomorrow. They did lose a map to Griga Gaming. So do you have any thoughts on that? Actually,
for melee creeps, yeah, ping is hard. Like,
that's fair enough. That is fair enough.
That's my main thing. Is I think ping is hard, and you can adapt a little bit. But look, there's a reason why. Like, we've tried, to do more international competitions, but it is real hard with ping, and you're a trooper as a team if you go for it.
Yeah. One day we'll get offline tournaments when you see them go up against each other, right? Without that ping issue, and see what the clashes of styles also looks like, which I think would be really entertaining. But today or tomorrow, actually, we're going to have to see that today and tomorrow and the rest of the days. We're going to have to see that with a little bit of the ping issue. Good on them for sticking into the tournaments, and looking forward to them tomorrow personally. Gonna be watching bright and early, as you guys will. Same start time, same place, Twitch and YouTube. Make sure to follow OneWin on all of their socials as well. Again, down below on the Twitch page, pop up the QR code. Just make sure to support someone who's putting on some great deadlock action, and then make sure to be back tomorrow. So $10,000 on the line, guys, for this tournament to figure out who advances into the playoff stage throughout the rest of this week. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you tomorrow for all of the deadlock matches. 7 of them coming your way.
That's right.
Breakdown.